And then the fish climbed out of the water, grew legs, and that's how man began. Hello, fishy. Hello, Johnny. Look, 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 look. Look, 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 look.
Tonight on The Word, the man with a driving passion, Jeremy Clarkson. LA rapper Coolio tells it as it is. Alan squares up to heavyweight grandfather George Foreman. And music from Weezer and West Coast rockers, the Black Crows.
Some nights anyway, and on tonight's show, for our congregation here, we've got Heavenly Bodies, Songs of Praise, a bit of confession, some sacrificial lambs, and more stars than in the Betty Ford Clinic.
God made heaven and earth, and on the seventh day, he rocked! Our next band are Verity from Atlanta, GA. Please give it up for the Black Crows and High Head Blues.
I get old, I get me intertwined with country pride, open and kind. This cross the line, so sorry to have to point a break. Don't either side, there's a wisdom and a rage there. Keeping track of time, we always race there with our age. Sometimes we got to sleep with snakes. Just forget that your show don't lay. It ain't worth it, babe. Oh, my dear. And music tell your song. I got a very good idea. It ain't like they say it's so. If it is, let me go. Let me go. Might be hell to pay. The other way that makes it seem okay. Well, I'll tell you people just what I mean. Shit ain't a plot, no, it ain't a scheme. It's just peace in my mind. Said, do you know the word kind? Sorry, baby. Oh, my dear. At least they tell you so. I got a very good idea. Ain't like they say it's so. Give me the earth, let me go. Let me go.
Blues, the Black Crows, straight from their third album, America, and you can see them at London's Royal Albert Hall tomorrow night and Sunday night. Frank Sinatra's favourite venue, I ought to add. Now, those of you who read these trendy new magazines at the moment may have read a few articles about this mythical creation of those magazines, the New Lad. I'm glad to say that my first guest tonight is proud to be an old lad. Please welcome Jeremy Clarkson. Top gear, Jeremy, top gear. Now,
There he was.
now most of you watching will be acquainted with Jeremy's work, and fine work it is as well, but for those of you who aren't, let's take a walk through his life.
Top Gear's not a particularly difficult job, really. You just borrow a car, usually an expensive one, drive around in it for a week, piece of cake. I've got two loves in life. Smoking and listening to Bob Seger. Sad, sad old man that I am. There are three things that matter really with cars. How fast they go, how much does it cost, and can you pull birds in them? And I've never really found a Japanese car that meets any of those criteria. I like Jags, I like Astons, I like Ferraris. I just like expensive stuff. Give me a Ferrari. I was given a Ladybird book of cars when I was 2, and I could say Maserati before I could say Mummy. Got into smoking, got into girls, got into music, and then I got lobbed out of school. Ran into a guy at a party, and he turned out to be a Top Gear producer, and I'd had a few too many, and I said, I'll tell you what you want, mate. You want me on your programme? And he said, yeah, OK. Silly sod.
I'm a driver, I'm a winner.
I never really saw what was wrong with the 80s. I had a great time. And I've certainly got no time for this PC stuff in the 90s. I only have one fear in life, running out of cigarettes. Fortune. I work for the BBC. I don't wear flash clothes for the television. I don't put makeup on. I don't look in a mirror before I do a piece to camera. I'm just an ordinary bloke.
What a man! Hey, Jeremy, what can I say? Stand up, look at this. Hey, all right, don't do that.
Sweet.
Hey. Small but hard, you know what I mean?
Yes, I know. I'll just ease over
You
here.
don't want to mess with me, kid.
Right.
Cars. Now, you...
Oh, do we have to?
Yes, we must talk about cars, the motor car. You do say a lot of very sexy things about cars. You're always talking about, you know, curvaceousness. It's not all low box and camshaft with you. And you were driving one car and you said, this is the sort of car that'd snap a girl's knicker elastic at 200 yards.
Aha! That was a misquote. I said it would snap knicker elastic at 50 paces and never said girls, which was my big defence with all the big bosses that said I was sexist.
Oh, so it could have been...
Which, of course, I'm not.
Guys' knicker elastic.
Much. So it could easily have been guys' knicker elastic. No, but I mean, look, cars are unutterably dull. I mean, what actually makes them go is about as dull as it's possible to get. It's the real ale, really. And
but they are big status symbols, aren't they?
Yeah, that's exactly it. The big status symbols, as I've said on that, there are three things that matter. How fast does it go? How much does it cost? Can you pull birds in? That's it.
Can you put... Now, there's a lot of girls...
Or blokes.
I won't say birds. There's a lot of girls in the audience tonight. Would you go out with a guy just because he had a flash car?
My case rest. My case
Blimey,
rest.
I'm getting rid of that that Peugeot
Yeah,
309
you're Diesel,
I've got.
you see. You're Diesel. You're no good at all, me, with my Jag.
Yeah, no, but people were talking about... I mean, somebody said that you're a bit of a sex symbol to a lot of gay men. This was in... No, it's true. This was in one of the music papers last week.
And what did I say?
Well, you tell us what you said.
Oh, I can't remember. I was mildly disappointed, I seem to remember.
Yes, you seem to think that it'd be a pain in the arse if, you know, the last thing you wanted was to see somebody buggering somebody else outside your doorstep, you said. Which wasn't very politically correct, was it?
No, but you can't be politically correct when you're doing a job like mine. I'm sitting there in the world's most un-environmentally friendly thing there is. I'm not a PC person. I'm from the north. You're from the north. You shouldn't be PC either.
I'm not saying I'm PC, but...
Good.
But I mean, well, I don't know. No, I haven't got a gay following, not since I shaved my moustache off. But you should be proud of that. The more fans, the better.
No, it isn't. No.
So what's the flashiest car you've ever driven, then?
That's more like it. Right, so get off that
Changing a subject.
No, I mean, what? 456? I don't know. What's the flashiest car I've ever driven? Ferrari. It would be a Ferrari of some description.
But you don't actually own a car, do you?
Heterosexual, red-blooded Ferrari 355. Look,
No, wait a minute. You're a married man, Jeremy. What does your wife say when you talk like this at parties in front of her?
Let's give her a ring. Have we got a phone?
Doesn't she, like, wince a bit?
Yes. She said to me tonight before I set off, she said, and I don't want any of your Alf Garnett behaviour. I don't want any of you to keep your trap shut on this. And the first question, what did I get now? What's this about gays?
Well, I have to ask you,
Yeah,
don't I?
it's true enough. Yes, it's true.
No,
I'm just, as I said, I'm just a bloke from the north. Ordinary sort of...
But you had all the opportunities going to that posh school, didn't you?
Yeah.
That public school. Now, you see, if you're thinking of paying for your son's education, look at Jeremy here. Mind you, you're making a bob or two, aren't you?
Yeah.
Not even got a
making
car,
so
though.
much money now, it's obscene.
Right, well, you're going to stay with us tonight, and
I'm
glad to see you're not spending it on clothes or anything. Now, R. Allen...
Hello, pot, have you met kettle?
Lovely.
How much was that?
Listen, we're moving on swiftly now.
How much less than
Get
£5
your own
was
back.
it was this?
Get your own back later on.
Have we seen his shoes?
R. Allen
Can we just... Chelsea boots?
Now,
They went out years ago,
you
mate.
can't be bickering like we're in some local over half a pint of
Ken's
horrible
old
ale.
seat.
OK, now moving on swiftly. Now, R. Allen's been over at the States to meet a grandfather who is a world champion at a sport in which it is OK to hit people, even if they are Crystal Palace fans. Have a look at this.
Howdy from Houston, Texas. I'm here training, just turning myself up, getting ready to trade some punches with a living legend. He's old, he's bold, he's bald, and he's called George Foreman. And he's the heavyweight boxing champion of the world.
You have met probably one of the greatest wonders of the world in meeting George Foreman. You will not meet such probably in your lifetime.
1968, George Foreman, aged 18, wins Olympic gold in Mexico. 1973, Foreman beats the great Joe Frazier to become heavyweight boxing champion of the world. 1974, he loses to the legendary Muhammad Ali in the Rumble in the Jungle in Zaire, the most famous boxing bout in history.
Well, that was a devastating feeling for me to lose the title in that fashion to the great Muhammad Ali in Africa. Devastated my life for years.
1977, tired and disillusioned, he hangs up his gloves to spend the next decade and a bit delivering the word of the Lord.
I had this experience in '77 out in the dressing room where I had a vision. I was dead and alive again. And I saw the blood of Jesus Christ on my forehead and my hand. I started screaming that Jesus Christ was coming alive in me. Everybody thought I was crazy.
People said you were mad.
I even thought I was mad. And I became an evangelist with the Church of the Lord Jesus Christ.
After George's retirement and after the other greats of that era, like Frazier, Holmes and Ali, put their punching days behind them, no heavyweight could capture the imagination like they did, until Mike Tyson came along. Then, when the man with more neck than necessary ended up behind bars, the heavyweight world was populated by lightweight personalities. Then on November the 5th last year, after 6 years on the comeback trail, the unthinkable happened. After a 20-year gap, George Foreman mashed Michael Moorer to recapture his IBF and WBF heavyweight title.
There's a right hand. Down goes Moorer. He's flat on his back.
When you see a 46-year-old man defeat a 26-year-old man, then you are seeing something greater than just a physical contest. It's a mental war.
George fought his mental war with a little help from God, but he also had a far more basic motivation.
I know how to get money. I'm not going to beg and ask people for money. I'm going to be heavyweight champ of the world. That way I'll get all the money I need.
And you started out in some pretty smelly places.
I started from the bottom. Everybody's making jokes. He's old, he's fat, he can't do it. You got to look at all of the money that you need and continue to dream.
George's comeback proved lucrative in other ways too. He became an attractive proposition for sponsors.
It's so good, I want it bad.
And he landed his own sitcom too.
The series George didn't work out, the sitcom, right?
No, it was cancelled.
Shame. But George is used to cancellations. He's gone through a few wives in his 46 years.
Out of your wives, which one of them do you think will be the one that's waiting for you at the pearly gates when you go out to meet St. Peter?
I only have one wife.
You only have one?
Yeah.
You've been married before, right?
I was married 5 times.
And the 5 wives of George I have given him 9 kids, 4 of whom are called George.
Does that get confusing when the phone rings?
No.
Does someone ask to speak to George?
Well, you know what? Everybody say our names differently. Well, George, and George. Oh, and George.
Right, the last
you see, yeah.
Right, okay.
And there's one more. George. That's me.
And it's George who's facing one of the most awesome challenges a George can face. When Mike Tyson gets out of jail, it'll be old Mr. Foreman standing between him and the world heavyweight title. It's a fight with an estimated purse of $50 million.
Mike Tyson would be a splendid fight. The youngest guy to become champ of the world and the oldest guy to receive the title. It would be a great fight for mankind.
Would you be confident about that?
No, of course not.
Really?
No. Who would want to get in the ring with Mike Tyson?
Not me, mate. Do you have a prayer that you pray to God before you go and fight?
God, I'm scared. Help me, please.
But whatever the outcome of any future fight, George is sure of one thing. He's the greatest.
You'll talk about this and wonder about it. This will be read and talked about and spoken about long after you're dead. It'll be a wonder for your grandchildren to know that you shook my hand. This is something splendid. Not me, but the fellow that you're watching out is a marvel.
George Foreman, the oldest heavyweight boxer. Looking forward to a multi-million-pound fight with Mike Tyson when they let him out. He was talking there, Jeremy, sorry, he's changing.
When is he out?
Mike Tyson?
Yeah.
Well, I'm not his bleeding attorney, am I? Wait, what, May? He's out in May.
Out in May?
Just in time for the VE Day celebrations. I was going to say, now, you know, he's got a bit of sponsorship there from Kentucky Fried Chicken. You're there doing the old motor show.
Yeah.
I believe, though, some car companies don't like you because you've slagged them off.
Some?
Yeah. I mean, why do you do that?
Well, why do I say that cars are rubbish?
Yeah.
Well, it would be very easy, I know, to go on and say they're all absolutely lovely except for the shape of the ashtray, but, I mean, I think, yeah, the car's the second most expensive thing that someone buys. You've got to tell it how it is. And most cars are rubbish, really. I mean, they're just dull as ditch water.
Do you just do it so that the only ones you get given to review are fantastic, dead expensive?
No, because I get them all.
ones?
I drive every car. I mean, my street's just...
So who would you like to be sponsored by?
What, if I was to be sponsored by anyone? Marlboro.
OK.
But they don't make cars yet.
Well, you can always take it out for a drag, can't you? Listen, thanks a lot. You're going to be staying with us.
Yeah.
After the break, we have musician extraordinaire Coolio, plus R. Allen and a religious rook, and this.
Which pop star insisted that one of his staff wear in his new shoes so that he could avoid blisters? Was it David Bowie, Paul McCartney, Robert Plant, or Elton John? Find out after the break.
Here come the Belgians. Here come the Belgians! Here come the Belgians!
We asked you which pop star insisted that one of his staff wear in his new shoes so that he could avoid blisters. The answer is Robert Plant. Wear gloves if you want to avoid blisters, Robert.
And now I know what tobacco is. Well, our next band have been asked not to be described with any of the following words. Retro, goofy, funny, wacky, zany, anything like that. They've been described as the Beach Boys on mescaline, funny expression, but please give it up now. It's their song Undone, the Sweater Song, and their name is Weezer.
Goddamn, I can't sing it. Hear me, know me. If you want to destroy my sweater, hold this thread as I walk away.
All you people are paid to do this. I'm so sassy, you can't stop. So valid on our God, Holocaust to the bone.
I sink and I die. If you want to destroy my sweater, whoa, 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 hold this thread as I walk away. As I walk away, watch me unravel. I'll soon be naked, lying on the floor, lying on the floor. I come undone. Superman skitties, lying on the floor, lying on the floor. I come undone.
which has already sold over 2 million copies in the United States so far, and that track's out on Monday. And also their UK tour, which begins in London, is also starting on Monday. Now, my next guest, he's gone from being a fireman to being a Grammy-nominated rap artist. Let's have a look.
Straight out of Compton, Coolio was one of the first original West Coast hip-hop crew, but after years of crack addiction and LA gang life, he left the hood and became a firefighter in Northern California. Returning a year later, clean and serene, Coolio won critical acclaim for his album It Takes a Thief and a Grammy nomination for the hit single Fantastic Voyage. His journey has just begun. Welcome to the Word, Coolio.
I have to say, Coolio, last week we had Jodeci on the show last week,
right.
And all three of them sat here with their sunglasses on, and we want to see your eyes, right? Take your shades off. Thank you. Now, first of all, I've got to ask you about your hair. Where did you get this look from?
It's just something that developed, you know, my hair was about this short once upon a time, and then you could braid it like that. So it just grew. And I let it grow. When it grew straight up, so, you know.
Just kind of left it.
Why mess with perfection? You know what I'm saying?
And who does your hair? Do you get it fixed, or do you kind of just leave it?
I just kind of leave it. You know?
So how long has it been like that for?
About 6, 7 years.
Okay. Yeah. So we can't really determine whether you just got out of bed or not.
Well, you know, age is good sometimes.
Okay. Now, you're obviously not, your real name is not Coolio. Where did you get your name from?
One of my homies was bagging, as we call it, snapping, ranking. We're talking about each other.
Right.
And he called me Coolio Ingleses. So it was kind of, you know.
Just happened like that?
Yeah.
And would you ever sample any of Julio Iglesias' songs? Well, nowadays you can't be so sure.
Come on, baby, light my fire. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Was that
Maybe,
the Doors? I thought that was the Doors, but anyway.
Nah.
So what's your real name then?
They made it after him.
Okay, what's your real name then?
My real name?
Yeah.
Coolio.
Your real name?
Coolio.
Okay, he doesn't want to say. Now, we just saw a clip from your video, Fantastic Voyage there, and you feature a lot of cars in that. What's this obsession with cars in rap videos? They all seem to have these really flashy, big machines.
I don't think it's just rap. It's L.A. L.A., we originated the lowrider. We were the first people to lowride on the whole planet. You know, they're lowriding in Japan now, all over the United States, even New York is jumping on the bandwagon. So it's something that we invented, and, you know, I got a 71 Chevy, 318, all stock, brand new interior, brand new wheels, you know what I'm saying?
This is your fridge, is it? Or?
That's my Sunday
your car, right.
Yeah, my car. It's my Sunday car. Low rider. Yeah. And, you know, the kind of cars that hop up and down.
They haven't got a clue what a low rider is.
Yeah, it's the cars that you see in the videos with the hydraulics, with the switches, you know what I'm saying?
Bump up and down.
That's how he gets his hair like that.
Don't start him off with cars, because he won't stop otherwise. I wanted to ask you, Coolio.
Super cats.
I wanted to ask you, your drugs, you had a bit of a drug problem. It kind of put your career on hold for a while, didn't it?
Yeah, just for a minute, maybe, year and a half, maybe.
What kind of drugs were you into?
I was into rock cocaine. It's been about 8 years now I've been clean. It's something that it just came into our neighborhood, and it kind of just destroyed most of the ghettos all over America. I mean, we're already in bad shape, but that just made it worse.
And how do you quit something like that?
You just wake up one morning and say, I quit, and be real about it. I mean, it wasn't quite that easy. I didn't go to a program or anything like that, but it was my decision. And usually when someone has a drug problem, you don't quit by going to a program or anything like that. You have to make up in your mind and decide whether you want to keep doing it or not. You know, and once you decide that you don't want to do anything, it's like stopping smoking or anything, and you just quit. And I just quit. You know, and it was hard, but it was worth it.
And I just have to ask you one more thing. You're one of the most successful rap artists in the States at this present time, but there's one thing that kind of makes you different from the rest, especially the West Coast rappers, and your lyrics kind of, every other word doesn't say bitch or hoe. How come you chose to kind of take the other turn?
Well, it wasn't really a choice. I mean, I'm from the old school of rapping. I started rapping in 1979, you know what I'm saying? So
you're one of the originals.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, I made my first 12-inch when I was 17 years old, 18 years old. And it's just the way I developed. I mean, if I had developed that way, that would have been my way. But my way was just something, you know. Like, I will use those words in the song if they pertain to the song, or if they have some content of, you know, they pertain to what I'm saying. And then, you know, I'll use it. But other than that, I mean, why? I mean, it's too many other words I can use.
Okay. Now, you're going to stay with us for the rest of the show, because you're going to be performing at the end. You want to see him perform? Yeah! We like to think of ourselves as fairly, you know, up on the current trends, and there's one organisation that's trying to do the same, and that's the church. Alan's going to explain. Alan.
Brothers and sisters, I bid you welcome. Thesis. People these days in the 90s are likely to say, oh, God, that's all a bit boring. I'm not really interested in Deus Ex and salvation and all that sort of thing. Antithesis. Religion is actually the rock and roll of the 90s. What's the evidence for that? Well, we've got all these billboard posters saying that Christians make better lovers, which raise a smile when you're driving along, and Songs of Praise, that new title sequence makes it look more like Top of the Pops. Anyway, is all this hype actually accurate? Crucifact or crucifixion? Well, here tonight, at The Words, we're going to find out with the denomination game. Thank you. here with us in the studio we have representatives from three faiths, and we're going to see how much in touch they are with the modern age. From the Church of England, we have Reverend Mike Starkey and Reverend Steve Hahn. Please give it up! From the Roman Catholic Church, Father Jude Bullock and Father Peter Scott. Peter's from St Bartholomew's Hospital, which faces closure, unfortunately. And from the Hare Krishna Temple, we've met the big guns. Now it's the underdogs. It's Parantapa and Raghunath. Please, one more time. Bit of drum in there. That's a modern religion. OK. Let's move swiftly on with round one. What happens is one person from each of the partners will be having to identify certain objects which are particularly specific to the modern age. Now, you're going to be blindfolded, which will obviously make it a bit harder. But we're not asking God to help you identify what they are. Instead, it'll be your partner. Now, partners, do make sure that your partner is as specific as he can be. But obviously, you can't just say outright what the item is, or that point isn't going to count. You've got 45 seconds to identify up to 7 items. Try and get as many as you can. The one who gets the least will be knocked out. Obviously, if you're having trouble, just pass. Just move on. That's the best way. So, right, we've got Reverend Mike and Reverend Steve from the Church of England. Do you understand the rules?
Yes. Yep.
OK.
Yep.
Start the clock.
You read it every day, and it's a tabloid, and yes. Women wear them on their upper halves under other things.
Bra.
Yeah.
What sort of bra, please? More specific.
Underwire bra.
The colour is the colour of night.
Black bra.
I'm looking for the brand name.
Oh, and it
Wonder
supports.
bra.
Yes.
Absolutely. Very quick. Big fan of bras.
Something that you eat. It's fast food, and it's large.
Halfway.
Large, and it's got a Scottish name.
Big Mac.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's 3.
And it's a packet of, well, the Pope won't like these.
Condoms.
I think we didn't give that to the next team.
And children's toy associated with strength and might and...
I'm afraid the time's up! So what have we got there? We've got the Pig Mac 1, 2, 3... They didn't have to say the brand name, that's fair enough. Let's call that 4. Moving on now to Father Jude and Father Peter. Do you understand what you have to do? OK, start the clock.
Right, it's the sort of thing you wear under trousers.
Underpants.
Famous name.
Boxer shorts.
Well, yeah.
It's more obscure, Jude.
More obscure,
try and get the brand name.
Try and get the brand name. It's a man's name. It was in the papers not so long ago. 2 names.
It's supposed to show that you're bigger or something, isn't it?
No.
Might be worth moving on.
Yeah, move on. Right, it's a portable thing you can speak to people with.
Mobile phone.
Yeah.
That's 1 point, and we're just over halfway.
A magazine that we shouldn't really read, but is fascinating.
Playboy.
As a cultural icon.
Playboy. Penthouse.
Yeah.
That was very quick.
God knows what this is. It's a bag of... Oh, jeez. It's something you buy from Greek restaurants, and they're not terribly healthy, but they've got chilies in, and...
Tapas. No.
1 point from the pornographic magazine. I'm afraid the time is up.
Oh.
OK, but... Yeah, give them... Well done there. OK. Couple of boys, and moving right on to the Hare Krishna Temple. Parantapa, you're going to be describing the items. Raghunath, you'll be guessing, so start the clock.
It's something that you put some tobacco and some drugs in and smoke.
Not drugs. No to drugs.
And it's very thin and you roll them.
Oh, cigarette papers.
Yeah, the name.
Which brand name, please?
Rislo?
Yeah. Okay.
No help from the audience there. They've got God
So
on
this
their
is
side.
this is a shirt. This is a shirt worn by a team who kick balls around and they're
football.
Yeah,
which team, please?
Manchester United.
Yeah,
absolutely.
This is I don't know what that is. Give me the next one.
Moving on. Yeah, very wise.
Okay, this is something that you listen to lectures of Srila Prabhupada through.
Oh,
only 3 seconds left. Only 2, only 1. I'm afraid the time is now up. The time is up.
Sony.
You got it.
You got it.
Sony Walkman.
Oh, but it makes absolutely no difference, because if we have a look at the scores here, what's important is the loser. They're going to be knocked out. If we look at the scores, we'll see that in first place was the Church of England, who had that was 4. Second place, the Hare Krishna faith was 1, 2, 3 there. I'm afraid Roman Catholic Church. It's not an end; it's a beginning. Don't worry, a lot to learn. Only 1 there, the porno mag. But that's great. So you're knocked out. Round 2 coming up a bit later on, when we're going to find out which of the remaining teams is most in touch. For now, it could well be Hare Krishna. Not many fans in the audience as yet. But all that could change. For now, we're going to have a look at one of those quirky, nasty little tricks that Mother Nature can play.
Separated at birth, Helen Daniels and Zero.
Oh, it's very cruel indeed, and it's nice to see religion getting in on the act, and it is up in the 90s because there's loads of churches around our way that have been converted to fun pubs, and now they've got signs up saying he, you know what I mean, he might have been the Son of God, but he couldn't drink 4 pints of Theakston's special. You know, Resurrection, a bit Edric's Carling Black Label. Anyway, you're going to be staying with us, you're going to be performing some tunes later on, aren't you?
Yeah.
You're going to be staying with us as well.
I am indeed, yes. I am indeed.
And after the break, we've got a bit of this.
We'll do a new song for
Which eccentric American insisted on having 2 miniature poodles dressed in matching leather accompany them to a show? Was it Courtney Love? The artist formerly known as Prince? Aretha Franklin? Or Richard Gere? Find out after the break.
And that's how a window works.
Swim, Harrison! Swim for me!
The word.
We asked you which eccentric American insisted on having 2 miniature poodles dressed in matching leather accompany them to a show. The answer is Aretha Franklin. Respect, Aretha.
It's a rock and rolling show tonight. Still with us, of course, Coolio and Jeremy Clarkson. This is, of course, The Word. Welcome back. The show which manages to pack more into 1 hour than William Waldegrave does into a whole barn full of veal crates. Speaking of sleaze, as you know, there's been plenty of sleaziness around the government, but also in terms of football recently. You've had allegations of bribery, backhanders, drugs, the lot. And, of course, what are the FA doing about it? Absolutely FA. Until now, and they've found themselves a nice little scapegoat in the guise of that fiery Frenchman, Eric Cantona, and our Jasmine is at this very moment, as we speak, in an offside position somewhere near his house. Jasmine.
Yes, Terry, as you can see, the world's press and football fans are gathered here in this suburb outside Manchester. Now, we're outside Eric Cantona's house live. Check the stone cladding out, OK? Now, we're not here to get a hard-nosed story. Eric Cantona is the controversial football player who this week has stamped his mark on English football and his fans. As I said, we don't want the hard news story. We want to promote some peace and harmony. Check it out. Sounds good, doesn't it? I've got Cecile here with me. Cecile's our French translator. Hello, Cecile.
Bonjour, hello.
Cecile's going to help us communicate with Eric. Cecile, what message have we got for Eric?
Nous avons un message de paix et d'amour pour Eric aujourd'hui.
And what does that mean?
That means that we have a message of peace and love for Eric.
Great, it sounds good. Let's see if it works. Come and try it out. Shh. OK, we're going up to Eric's doorstep now. Now, we want to keep quiet because Eric's got children, so let's keep it quiet. Hush, hush.
Eric, c'est the word ici. On a un message de paix et d'amour pour toi. Descends nous parler un petit peu.
Cecile, what did that mean?
Well, I just said that we had a message of peace and love for him, and if he wanted to come down and talk to us for a bit.
OK, do you want to try another one?
Yes. Eric, on t'aime et on est tous avec toi.
What was that?
Well, I said that we loved him and we were all with him.
Oh,
maybe that
love
will
him
work.
and we're all with him. OK, try another one.
Eric, on adore ta poésie. Est-ce que tu voudrais descendre nous dire un petit poème? S'il te plaît, Eric. Well, I just said that we love this poetry, and if he wanted to come down...
OK, well, look, we've got these flowers for Eric. Hopefully, I mean, he's had a very stressful time. He's gone to bed early, obviously. He'll wake up in the morning and found these flowers from the Word audience left for him. Now, if you thought Eric Cantona was just a brilliant footballer, you'd be wrong. He's much more than that.
You can't. OK, so some may argue that Monsieur Cantona was a bit spontaneous as he flew feet first towards a Crystal Palace fan on Wednesday night. But Eric is not always so impulsive. In fact, he's a bit of a thinker. On February the 3rd, Ringpool Press are set to publish this book. It is a collection of observations by Eric called The Philosophy of Cantona. Here is a poignant extract.
I have this passion in me that I can handle. It's like a fire inside you which has to get out and which you let out. Sometimes it wants to get out to do harm. I do myself harm, It worries me when I do harm, especially to others. But I can't be what I am without these other sides to my character.
Vive la France, Eric.
Well, that's what I like to see, a fit, well-rounded guy. Now, I'm joined here with some of Eric's neighbours. Now, tell me about Eric. What's he like?
He's great. I'm just sorry for him for what's happened.
Right, and what do you think of Eric?
I think he's dead nice. He always lets on, and he always, when he goes past, he always gives us a wave.
He always waves at you?
Yeah, he's dead nice.
Oh, don't know about that. The less said about that, the better.
I think we should get off his back and go and give Paul Merson a bit more thingy there now.
OK, well, come over here. Join me over here. What are you lot here for? What are you doing?
Just love, peace, harmony.
Love, peace and harmony.
Sending the message to Eric that we all love him and just to stay in the country, basically.
Oh, well, that's really good. Terry, now I know you're a bit of a Manchester United nut, and Danny, I know you know all about Manchester United nuts. What do you reckon?
Well, to be honest with you, can we just say this from the unbiased point of view? I think Eric's been doing a marvellous job. They shouldn't have banned him. They should have him playing again on Saturday. And in fact, they should give him, like, a penalty, a free penalty for picking on him all the time. The jip he takes, and I'm sure everyone would agree with that, wouldn't they?
I definitely agree with that, Terry. Listen, he didn't come out tonight, but he'll find the flowers in the morning. Back to the studio.
That's brilliant. But he's a nice bloke, isn't he, Eric?
He's a lovely guy, yeah.
He always takes time to sign autographs, talk to young children, and he's kind to animals, and he scores some corking goals. And I thought that was quite a nice little jump there at Crystal Palace's ground. Still, I mean, it's not exactly O.J. Simpson stuff, is it?
No, not really.
I mean, what do you think about the whole O.J. Simpson thing?
Well,
innocent or guilty, basically?
I think he's innocent.
Innocent. There's a man.
Framed. I think he was framed.
He's been framed. We'll find out more about that in several months' time. But we've got music from Coolio after the break and the final of our religious rock. See you then. Oh, right. Oh, no, over to Alan for the final of our religious rock.
Like a break in itself. Welcome back to the denomination game. Woo! Thank you. The object of the game is to find out whether faiths nowadays can, in fact, claim to be in touch with the modern age. We've already had to say goodbye, unfortunately, to the Roman Catholic Church. I know the computer down here might have indicated that there were 3 points even. A bit of a gremlin in there. Modern technology, not what it used to be. And rest assured, the Roman Catholics had, in fact, lost. So, moving on. Round 2. A lot of fun. It's called the 3 Steps to Heaven game. And we have the steps there. 1, 2 and 3. Oh. So listen, and you'll plainly see the rules of the game. What's going to happen is one of each team is going to be standing there. That'll be Mike there and Parentapa, and you're going to be moving your way up to try and get to heaven. How do you get there? Well, you have to answer questions correctly. What are the questions going to be on? They're going to be on currently popular films. So we're going to ask your partners there, Stephen and Raghunath, to watch the films very carefully and then answer some observation questions on them. Is that clear? Yeah. Thank you. OK. Right, well, without further ado, let's move swiftly on. Gentlemen, if you could both take your foot at the bottom of the stairway to heaven there, and you'll be moving up, asking a few questions there. You'll say your answers, and we'll find out whether they're pulpit fact or pulpit fiction. So, without further ado, as I said before, let's start the first video.
We're expected to become childbearing drudges, slaves to some rich merchant who will, meanwhile, enjoy all the pleasures nature can afford with other women, kept beautiful by their love of vice, like Pauline. Here.
I hope you've been watching carefully. Ring in when you think that you know the answer. Question 1. How many books were by the side of the bed? Raghunath, Hare Krishna. 2. It was 2, so please, your partner, take 1 step further up. Give it up. 1 time, no time. Don't waste my time. OK, question 2. What occupation do you think those 2 young ladies were engaged in? Ah, Stephen.
Prostitution.
No. Close. Raghunath, you would like a guess?
Waitresses?
They're actually nuns.
I was going to say...
So no points there. Next question. What do you think happens next? Ring in whenever you want. Don't feel shy, yes?
The video's coming back on.
Yeah, within the video, within the video world, unfortunately. Would you like a guess? Stephen?
No, on the next one.
Go on, have a guess. OK, let's just see the clip.
I'll have a guess.
Even to be such a wife, you must learn about yourself. You must be aware of your body. You must understand the effect that youth and beauty can have upon the desires of men.
So there we have it. Obviously, a very 1990s film. What was once considered very, very crass is now we can watch within speech marks, and it's all okay. Just good, harmless fun. So, the answer was, of course, that one of the women exposed her breasts. For a bonus point, though, and another step up to heaven, what actress with royal connections played the stripping nun? Oh, come. How many actresses have had royal connections that we've got to know about? A little bit of help there from God. Right, ring the bell! Stephen, it was Q-Star. You got the hint from the other one. So, yes, thank you. Mike, you've moved up, I'm afraid. Yes, you should move one more and be on step 2, please. OK, let's move on to the next clip. No. One more.
No, he's right.
You've only got one. Right. OK, sorry. I'm just not paying attention. OK, let's see the next clip.
None of us are.
Candace always tries to seduce the Queen's lovers, but all she manages to do is warm them up. Come with me to my chamber.
I have a sudden inspiration.
See those clips now? Nowadays, daring and iconoclastic. So, question 1 on that clip. What colour was Cleopatra's toga?
Red.
Ragnar, yes?
Red.
It was red. Take one more step. Just one step away from heaven. Everything to play for. Or Nirvana, of course, for you. So, next question. What did Cleopatra end up standing next to?
Statue.
Yes! It was a statue! Please finally take your last move! There you are in Nirvana. How does it feel? It must feel wonderful. Well, there we are. Glory be. Praise be. It's the end of the game. I am standing here like a god, giving out my thanks to everyone for making it all such a wonderful evening. For now, it's back to you, Terry.
Thank you very much. I thought it was a question of karma, turning full wheel then. And it's made me... the Catholics went out first, didn't
You
they?
didn't even recognise Q Stark.
No, but I've never seen her like that. I didn't recognise her without a
What, you never saw Emily?
No, I haven't, but I will come round to your house and borrow your videos.
Yeah, anytime.
Thank you very much, Jeremy.
Thank you for having me.
May your tyres never leave the road, etc.
Join us for next week's show, because we've got Steve Tyler's superstar daughter, Liv Tyler, on the sofa, and music from Jade and Supergrass. But to play us out tonight, he's been Grammy-nominated for Best Artist of the Year. He's going to be playing us a world-exclusive performance of a brand-new track called Through the Window Intro, Coolio.
Yeah, live from Compton, California, Coolio with the 40 D's, looking at it through the window. I take a look through the window and all I see is pain, burning on my brain like some weird type of acid rain, or a virus, or something that I can't explain. I used to be different, but now it seems that I'm the same as the rest of these hard heads in my hood. I'm living foul, even though mama raised me good. Everywhere I turn and everywhere I look, everybody that I know is living like a crook. And the cops wanna throw the book, the kitchen sink, or uppercut, and a left hook. How can I explain this? That got me caught in, but it's the way I was raised, it was the way I was taught. And the streets is a mother, brother. But I ain't going out like another sucker. I know I won't be the last as I reflect through the past with my face pressed against the drag. Going down slowly, slowly, going down. I'm going down. Going down slowly, slowly. I'm going down. Going down slowly, slowly. Going down, down, down. Going down slowly, slowly. I'm going nightfall through the window, a silhouette, feet just wet, and the palm of my hand is still wet. The safety on the deck because the shoot had just started. Yet so many yesterdays I can't forget. And now it's nighttime, but it seemed like daytime. Helicopter lights making it bright like sunshine on my mind. Crack addicts, kids with automatic, those who want static and those who already had it. Manifestations of a spirit trapped in a flesh cage. Mind in fifth gear, imagination rampage. My brother's walking through night like a thief in the night. 3 strikes, you're out, if your color's not right. And now they ask us why we jack and fight. And trying to stay when I'm bright and I wrap too tight. Rolling in the window, sucking on some window, looking through the window. And that's all I see. We going down. Going down slowly. Down slowly, slowly. I'm going down, down, down. Going down slowly.
3 years for aggravated burglary, arson, incitement to riot, actual bodily harm. Just what kind of animal are you, Drysdale?